You mentioned earlier about the idea of like, are we living or are we thinking about living? And many of us are thinking about living. And I think the reason for that is because it's scary to be with our emotions. So I think the biggest piece I'm personally trying to work on and also trying to facilitate is like, how do we become more intimate with our own emotions? And that teacher I mentioned, Robert Masters, talks about fusion and intimacy. So he kind of says, when I become fused with my anger, I'm angry and it just overtakes me. When I detach from my anger and distance it from me, I lose connection to it also. But when I'm intimate, I recognize I'm experiencing anger. So there's this little intimacy is this little bit of separation where I can see the thing separate to myself, but close enough for it to be intimate. My biggest challenge is how I relate to emotion. Like the reason I stay in my head is because I don't want to feel what's happening in my body. The reason I hide in relationship is because I don't want to feel the fear or the vulnerability. The reason I don't put myself out there more in business is because I don't want to be rejected. So it's learning to, probably again from a cognitive standpoint, maybe it's recognizing the emotions I'm trying to avoid. And then from a body-based perspective, it's trying to be with the emotions that I've looked to avoid. And then community is to do that in a group, because again, if you hide in your house for the rest of your life, you're probably not going to be triggered as much as you would if you're in relationship or you're in community, but the triggering can bring the growth. So I think that's the biggest piece that I want to support men with. And the biggest challenge for men is, again, if you've been told all your life that you're not supposed to feel your feelings, you're going to go into the world in a very limited way because you don't want to create any scenarios that are going to bring up those feelings that are uncomfortable. Whereas if you're comfortable with your feelings and you know how it is to be with fear, to be with anxiety, to be with sadness, now suddenly you can take chances in life. You can put yourself out there. You can try new things. You can get things wrong because you have developed the trust in yourself to be able to hold yourself when things don't go to plan.